And good morning. It is currently Wednesday, the 9th of March. The time is 8:07 a.m. and this is my forecast for the day ahead. So as you can see, we are back on the Aussie US dollar, and as you can see, we're currently a little bit range bound. Okay, so you can see what's happened. We can see we've had this impulse down. We've broken that low with quite a bit of momentum very nicely. Again, we didn't really see any shift in momentum here, but we continued that move down. Now again, what happened in this price action? We broke the low retrace, broke the high retrace, giving us a bit of a pause, but we continued that momentum down. And again, what happened here? We can see we broke the low retrace, broke the high retrace, broke the low retrace. Okay, in a sense giving us the idea that we're going to be more range bound. You can see also that we are starting to descend here. Okay, seeing that a lot of weakness to the downside, and again that price action was telling us that we're going to be range bound, and again that's exactly what we got. You can see that we are currently between this high and this low. Okay, so again, we have got a lot of indecision in the market. You can see this is basically nowhere and it's in no man's land. So again, for me, what am I looking for next? Well, as you can see, guys, we will have areas of liquidity, right? Buyers and sellers were clearly fighting in this area. You can see we might actually tap in with the current candle. We have an area of liquidity up here, okay, that we have now just actually broken into. So again, I am very wary of what happens here, okay? Now again, what will I be looking for between now and next forecast? Well, again, if we just start to impulse up and see that commitment, I'm more than happy to look to get involved in a nice continuation flag. This is very high probability on this pair. We're coming from this descending nature, we're seeing the weakness, and now we can starting to impulse up. Okay, we're seeing that commitment through the range. Okay, now again, we may not get that. We might start to push up, come back a bit, break the high with momentum, pull back, and get involved in a continuation of a trend. Okay, very high probability setup, and the most likely one that could possibly happen. Okay, so again, these are two setups that I will be looking for sure. But again, we may not get that. We could just break this high, retrace, break the high, retrace, and continue in this ascending manner. If we do that, I will be sitting on my hands and being patient, seeing what happens next. And if we get this will take some time to form, then I will be looking at opportunities to go south. Okay, so for me, again, this will take a lot longer to form. I want to see a lot more clearer of an ascending out of here, especially seeing as we've got a descending into an ascending. I want to see a lot better price action here to get involved. Okay, so again, I'll be sitting on my hands, being patient on this pair. We can see, like I said, we have been pretty range bound here. So again, I want to be acting on the art of patience so we get a much more clearer setup with the Aussie US dollar. Okay, next pair is the Aussie Japanese Yen. And as you can see, similar in the sense of the Aussie US dollar, but again, a little bit more range bound than that previous pair. So as you can see, guys, what's happened most recently, you can see that we've come down, impulse down. And then one of the things that I wasn't interested in looking at is that how we broke this low. We broke this low, but did we see any momentum? No, not really. Same again, broke the low, retrace, okay, came down in this descending manner. Then again, we broke the high, form double wicks, retraced. Okay, so again, giving us evidence that we're going to be range bound and we're not going to see that much momentum. Okay, then again, what happened after that? You can see we broke this low, retraced, broke the low, retraced, broke the high, formed double wicks, retraced. Again, telling us we're going to be range bound again, and that's exactly what we got here. Okay, so now again, what's happened since then? You can see we would have had the high here, we could have had the low here. So again, we have just tapped into this area of liquidity here. Okay, so again, for me, I'm being a lot more patient in seeing how we react. Okay, if we actually impulse out of here, I will be looking to get involved in a nice continuation flag. I will be looking at this kind of setup. This is very high probability on this pair. Okay, now again, we may not get that. Like I say before, with the other pairs, with the other Aussie US dollar, we could just break the high retrace, and continue in this ascending manner. If we do that, again, this will take a little bit longer to form. I want to be very careful, seeing as we have kind of gone from an ascending in a sense to a descending to an ascending, forming this longer range. Okay, so again, this is going to be something that I'll be very, very aware about. But again, if we do get this kind of ascending nature out of here from here, then I will be seeing what happens next. If we break the low impulsively, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag to the downside. Again, this will take many hours to form till my next forecast in the evening. But again, if we break the low, pull back to this level, I will be looking at this setup. But again, like I say, I will be wary of a setup like this. Why is that? Because currently price action has shown a lot of indecision. In the kind of longer term, we have been pretty much sideways. Okay, so again, I am being very careful of potential setups on this pair when we come from price action like this. I want to see a lot more lot better price action over here to convince me to get involved, okay? But again, like I say, we could just impulse up, and if we impulse up, pull back, don't get an opportunity to get in the flag, we break the high with momentum, pull back again, I will be looking to get involved in a continuation of the trend, okay? So again, that is what I'm looking at on this bit ahead. Like I say, we are just pretty much moving very correctively. I'm sure you guys can see that. It is just very, very corrective price action. So I'm waiting for a lot more. I want to see a lot more commitment on this pair. Next pair is the Euro US dollar. Now, as you can see, guys, this has been pretty range bound. I'm sure you guys can very clearly see that. You can see that we had this descending nature here where we broke the low, retrace, broke the low, retrace. And again, we anticipate a move in the direction upwards. But again, what happened after we moved up? Again, we saw this V, we've seen the range. Again, like I always say, we're anticipating a move in the direction of the second leg, okay? Now again, what happened? We formed triple wicks. We broke the higher, retraced, broke the low, retraced, giving us the idea that we do not want to get involved because we're anticipating the range. And like I said before, with this V shape, taking out liquidity down here, we're anticipating the move up. But again, what happened? We're seeing a lot more range bound than anticipated. You can see clearly a lot of indecision in the market. After that, what's happened? We've broke the low, retraced, broke the high, retraced, okay? Giving us more idea of a range. Again, broke the high, retraced, broke the low here, retraced. Broke the high, double wicks, retraced, okay? Again, so again, what am I looking for here? Again, we are pretty much in no man's land, okay? You can see the high would be here, the low is here. We have started to range in between, okay? So again, there will be areas of liquidity from this kind of battle between buyers and sellers above and below, okay? So again, I want to see what happens, how we exit these. If we impulse up, more than happy to look to get involved in a nice continuation flag. Very nice and very high probability on this pair. This pair really likes the look of these continuation flags, okay? Now, same to the downside. Like I say, if we impulse down, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag, okay? Very high probability. Now, again, we may not get that. We might just continue in this ascending manner, break the highs correctively. If we continue to do that, we can see we've come from this very kind of mini descending impulse into descending. But again, we're clearly seeing the weakness as we go up here, okay? We can clearly see that we're breaking highs, retracing. Price is struggling to go up. And again, very high probability, especially if we get this kind of smaller one at the top and then we break down. If we break down, I will be looking to get involved in a nice continuation flag to the downside, okay? Very nice and very high probability. And again, if we break the low up here with momentum, if we come up here, break the low with momentum, pull back to level, I will be looking to get involved in a nice reversal setup, okay? But again, this will take quite a while to form. Currently, for me, we're in no man's land. This is just, again, anticipating a lot more of a range, okay? I want to see a lot more price action. So again, I'm not really anticipating too much in the market ahead for Euro US dollar till the next forecast at the very least, okay? Next pair is the Euro Japanese Yen. And as you can see, guys, I did actually take a trade here, and I do want to explain this one because this one is interesting. You can see the stop loss is actually very, very small. But again, I do want to share my ideas with you, and this one is actually a lot more of a valid setup for me. But again, I will take you through this price action and tell you why I got involved at this location here, okay? So as you can see, guys, we have had this impulse down, okay? And what do I normally say about this pair? When you have this impulse down, when we see the weakness, I am looking at opportunities to go long, okay? So you can clearly see we had the impulse down, we saw this weakness in a descending nature, and then we came up. Did we see any momentum? We pushed up, but again, we saw triple wicks, giving me a massive warning sign, saying that we could just start to be range bound, okay? Now, again, we did get this range, but again, we were struggling. Now, one of the things I do want to do is actually flip this at the very least to show you guys the inverse. So again, for anyone that wants to know how to flip the chart, on a Mac, it's Option and I, and this might be a little bit more easier to understand and show you why I get involved, okay? And this will be a little bit more interesting for me to explain. So as you can see, guys, we pushed up, had this ascending in a sense, and after that, now I'm expecting, of course, we're trying to see if we can get involved in a down move, okay? Now after that, like I say, we did get this V, and one of the things I liked about this V is that we actually broke the high up here, taking out this liquidity up here with this wick. Yes, it wasn't by much, but again, it still broke the high. And then we came down. Now we came down, we formed triple wicks, giving us a massive warning sign to stay patient. Now again, we had this range, we anticipated the range, and like I say, with the kind of V's, we anticipate this and a move in the direction of the second leg. Now what happened in this range, we didn't really break any highs and lows, like you can see. High would have been here, low would have been here. Now again, we didn't really see a push up. Okay, I'm not seeing a push up, and again we broke this low with a very strong candle and a wick. Again, still giving me a warning sign that we may not be ready to go down, but again, I'm not really seeing that momentum come back in, and this is where this piece of price action came in very important. Okay, so for me, again, I will just bar replay this till here. So you can see at this point, okay, I'm sitting on my hands being patient and still anticipating a move down. But again, I need the evidence. For me, at this point, we've kind of broken this low, retrace, broken the low. Retrace could form a descending, okay? Now the next price action is what got me interested. You can clearly see we started to form double wicks to the upside and we started to push down. You can see again, even with this candle, we broke the low, but again, formed a wick. And at this point, it did not fit my plan, okay? We can clearly see we could just easily retrace, okay? But the very next candle is what made this trade, is what made me take this trade. This was a lot more of a valid trade, and I'll explain why. The reason why I took it after this candle here and on this candle is because number one, we got a very nice rejection from the bullet line. We can see we tried to push up, seeing that weakness. I'm seeing the weakness here, look, to the upside with these wicks, seeing price trying to push up, okay? Again, reason number two is that we did not retrace. We continued with that push. Okay, this low was lower than that low, so again we continued. And the third reason is that we had a very nice close. Okay, now for me, again, the reason why this was a valid setup is because we weren't seeing a tremendous amount of momentum break. Okay, we did just break the previous candle's low, but again, I would have liked to see a little bit more for it to be high probability and a nice solid close. But again, for me, this was enough to say, okay, this is a valid setup, and in the end for me, I did end up taking it. As you can see, if I actually flip this back around, okay, the next candle did tag me in, and of course I got tagged straight out. Okay, but again, completely fine. I'm happy to have taken that trade. My confidence level on this, like I say, for me personally, I said it was about 65% on my journal, my trade journal. Again, like I say, it was not a high probability setup, it was a valid setup. I'm happy to take that loss and of course ASR it, and of course understand why I was able, or why I did actually take it. Again, like I say, one of the things that did sell it for me is that we did not break and retrace. We've come up with two candles, we got a rejection from the bullet area, and again, still a very nice close. All reasons to suggest now, again, we are not seeing any momentum come back to the downside. And again, you can clearly see that we are trying to push up, okay? Broke high, retrace, and then we broke the high again. Still seeing no shift in momentum to the downside. We could have just impulsed up from that direction. Okay, again, something that is very high probability on Euro Japanese yen is this kind of setup. Of course, ideally a little bit more of a break would have been nice, but again, I took this as a valid setup, and again, happy to take that loss, okay, and learn from it. Okay, very transparent with you, happy to actually show you guys why I entered. But again, there was a lot for me going for this trade. I could see, yes, we were range bound, but again, this price action from here was very important. Like I say, we broke the high with some momentum, formed a wick, but again, after that, I didn't really see any shift. I saw price trying to push up again. I'm starting to see the buyers come in the market. So for me, again, that's the reason why I took it. Now, again, for me, what am I looking at next? You can see that what's happened after that. Now we're actually ascending more. We're going breaking high, retracing, breaking high, retracing. We did break the low here, retrace, but again, broke the high, retrace. The major highs are consistently being broken. So for me, we have come from a descending into an ascending nature, okay? So again, what am I looking for next? Well, as you can see, we have started to range about overnight. A lot of indecision. So again, there will be areas of liquidity, again, sitting up here, sitting below here, okay? So what am I looking for? Well, on this pair, if we start to impulse up, okay, it's not uncommon that we see this. Like I say, we get this ascending, okay, and then we impulse up. If we do that, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag, very high probability. But if we start to see this ascending nature, I will be looking for opportunities to go back down south, okay? But again, if we continue in this ascending manner, okay, I'll be very happy to look for a nice reversal setup. If we impulse down from this, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag, very high probability, okay? But again, if we do not get that, I will be looking for a reversal setup where we break the low, pull at this level, and come back here, okay? Again, this will take quite a lot of time to form, but again, Actually, no, we may not, because the reason being is because we have seen this ascending. So we could just start to see that little ascending here and then actually see that commitment to the downside. So again, I will have my eyes open. This could actually form between now and next evening's forecast. But again, like I say, I wouldn't be surprised if we just start to impulse up. Okay, so I'm looking for both commitment in either direction on this pair, and we will go from there. Next pair is the pound. As you can see, pretty range bound, okay? Very, very range bound. So again, like I say with the pound, I'm always looking for commitment. If we impulse up, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag. Same to the downside, impulse down, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag to the downside, okay? Very high probability setup. This pair also likes wider flags. So I will be looking for that kind of setup. But again, if we don't get that and we start to move up, see some commitment, come down, break high with momentum, again, looking for a nice continuation bullet. Very high probability on the pound. But again, like I say, we are pretty much stagnant. I want to see a lot more commitment on this pair before I get involved. Next pair is a New Zealand Japanese Yen. As you can see, guys, this pair is pretty range bound. Okay, you can see from our evening's forecast, again, liquidity areas above and below, waiting for a lot better price action on this pair. Okay, I like to trade continuation reversals. So again, if we come up in this ascending manner, I will be looking to see how we break the low. Break the low, pull at this level. More than happy to get involved in a nice reversal setup. But again, if we come down, pull up, come down again, I will be looking to get involved in a nice continuation, provided we see that momentum, okay? So again, waiting for a lot more price action on the New Zealand Japanese Yen. We are very range bound. I do not anticipate any trades between now and this evening's forecast. So again, I will be sitting my hands and being patient with this pair. So that's what I'm looking at in the market ahead, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.